Hey y'all, Blake here. Yet another editor's note before we dive in. Melissa is a newbie, like I once was. Now, I'm a black belt in 3 nations in podcasting. So you might hear some noises. It's just Melissa, fear not. For the podcast goes on. And with that, let's get on with the show.
Hi, and welcome to Old for My Age with Cassie, who is me, Cassie, where we talk about some fun stuff, some not so fun stuff. We eat a snack and we laugh in between. This week, I'm very excited to introduce Melissa. Say hi.
Hello.
Today's the first time we've met, so it's going great so far, if I had to say.
Yeah.
We know each other because you are Josh's sister.
I am Josh's sister.
You are how much older than him?
I'm 30, so I'm that much older.
3 years older. He's 27, yes. And Josh, for those of you who don't know, is our producer and also one of the executives for the show. So he's currently listening to this as we speak. Yeah, so I wanted to kind of start out with maybe seeing if you had any stories you wanted to share about him or any memories that come to mind.
I think the funniest, I don't know if it would be funny for him, but when he was younger, he couldn't really spell very well.
He still can spell.
And this one time he spelled lettuce, Ledduce.
That's a good one.
Yep.
How old was he? 18?
No, he was younger than that, but it was for a spelling, something to do with spelling, but yeah.
That's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember much of your life without him?
No, because I was pretty young when he was born.
True.
But we get along sometimes. We don't get along other times.
Fair.
Sibling rivalry, that's pretty normal.
I can't relate to having a little brother, but I do have a younger sister, so I'm sure there are some differences and similarities there, but
yes.
Being the older sibling is interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of pressure that gets put on you. Like, for example, with my sister, she's 3 years younger than me, so she's soon to be 21. There are a lot of aspects of her life where she is very independent, but then there are a lot of aspects where she's still very reliant upon our whole family system. So it's weird to compare where I was at her age to where she is. Like, for instance, when I was 21, I got engaged and I was living with my now husband for a few years, and she's going into her junior year of college, so it's kind of crazy how things work out like that.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I've only been with my husband for a couple of years, but we've been together for I think it's 5 years now. But yeah, I don't really remember what I was doing when I was his age.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's interesting to see how two people raised in the same household, same socioeconomic status, a lot of the same turn out so different. So how would you say you and Josh are different?
I think I'm more quiet, where he's more loud.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right word to use.
Outgoing, yeah.
Yes, for sure. He is more outgoing than I am. I'm very quiet, very reserved. That's probably a pretty good difference between the two of us. So,
where do you think you guys are alike?
I think that we have a lot of the same interests, like with different movies and TV shows and stuff like that. But as far as interests go, I don't really know if we have a ton of them, but yeah.
Well, now I would like to ask a little bit more about you. So I know you told me a little bit earlier about what you do.
Yeah.
I know you work from home, and I know the word technology was involved in the title, but that is just about as much as I can remember.
I work for a technology distributor.
Okay.
And I'm kind of the person that people come to when they need a quote for something.
Oh, okay.
For their company or their customers' companies. That's basically what I do. It's just doing quoting all day long, pretty much.
Does that involve a lot of customer service, like talking on the phones?
Yeah, it does. And sometimes there are a lot of not nice people that you talk to, but it's part of the job.
I just feel like it never gets easier. Like customer service, I worked in customer service for a long time. And I think that's one of the things I'm pretty passionate about now is trying to be kind to people whenever I can be. Trust me, I am not a perfect person. Like, there are times where I know that I was not my best, but I try not to take things out on other people.
Yeah, I'm that way too, especially when I have to get on the phone with somebody. If there's something wrong, you have to call like the electric company or something like that. And talking to those people on the end of the phone who get yelled at all day long. Yeah, and
all day.
I will say that I also have not been perfect when talking to those people, but I try to put myself in their shoes and realize that it's not an easy job, and working in customer service is just not fun sometimes. So
it is awful. I am having a hard time even really thinking about the pros, only the cons.
Yeah.
And also, you're married, right?
I am,
You are. How long have you been married for?
I've been married for 3 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is your favorite part about being married?
Being married to your best friend.
Yeah.
And living in the same house as your best friend and doing a lot of the same things together.
Do you guys share a lot of interests?
Yeah.
That must be nice.
Yeah. Is that not the same for you?
No. We are almost completely opposite, but
Okay.
it works for us sometimes.
Yeah, that works.
What do you guys like to do in your free time?
We are Disney pass holders, so we go to Disney all the time.
Even in this heat?
Yeah.
That's brave of you.
It is. We don't last very long.
I can't imagine.
It's pretty hot right now, especially.
How often do you guys get to go?
We go as often as we can. Sometimes Rory, my husband, will go by himself. We just actually got back a couple weeks ago from our anniversary trip that we usually go to.
Did you stay on property?
Yeah.
Nice.
We stayed at the French Quarter, I think it's called. It's a really nice resort. I think we've usually have tried to stay there every year of our anniversary, and I think that one's our favorite so far.
Oh, good. That's so great to hear.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to know that you guys have interests. I'd like to know a little bit more about how you guys met.
Yeah, we met through Match.com. So we met online.
Okay, no, this is a great point, and I'm glad I brought this up because, so I have to be honest. How old am I? I'm going to be 24 in a few weeks, right? So I didn't do very much of the online dating. You know, most of the people I dated, I already knew, or I met them through other people, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't really have that experience in common with a lot of people in our general age group. One of my best friends, Brittany, was trying forever. She was trying forever to find someone to she wanted to settle down. She already has a kid, and she wanted to find her husband. She wanted to settle down and have kids. And she tried, I'm pretty sure, like almost all of the apps you can think of. And she makes the joke now, but I don't really think it's that funny. I think it's very true, is that if you want to settle down, you're going to have to pay for it, right? So that includes those sites like eHarmony, Match. I can't think of any of the other ones off the top of my head, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
The ones that you have to pay to join. I think with that comes a little bit more seriousness.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would agree with that, but she found her husband. First of all, she found her husband. Great point to bring up, that she always joked about how she was just going to end up married one day and not tell anyone. She's just going to go to the courthouse to get married. She did just that. I didn't find out until a month after, and then got pregnant. Didn't tell anyone.
Oh, wow.
Not important part of the story, just something neat I'm venting about. And good news, I will be an aunt.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, I will have a nephew.
Yeah, dating online is different.
Yeah.
I did meet a few people before I met Rory, and a lot of them actually weren't looking for anything serious, which I was, so unfortunately it didn't work out. But
Yeah.
it's just depends. It can be an interesting experience. It's sometimes not fun, sometimes it's fun. Getting to meet new people is interesting. But
yeah, I personally, I was never super interested in casual dating. Like, I am the type of person where I went from relationship to relationship, and there were very small periods of time in between each relationship. Not very small, but you know what I mean. It wasn't like years between, but that was just never something that I was interested in, casual dating. I don't know why, but I'm interested to see if you have any horror stories from your time with online dating.
Yeah, I would say that I do, actually. The first person that I actually had been talking to for a while that I went on a date with, we met at a bar in Tampa for like a trivia night.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of it just being him and I, he had also invited all of his friends too to our first date.
Which is fine if you're going to let the person know like ahead of time. Like, actually, I don't know. I'm backtracking a little bit there. I'm thinking maybe like a third or fourth date, right? Introduce you to some of their friends in a more casual environment. But I don't know about the first encounter. Okay, continue. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's pretty much it. It was just, it didn't work out after the first date. And I'm like, that's fine. Yeah. Whatever. No big deal.
Do you think because from what I'm picking up from you is you tend to be a little bit more reserved and introverted. Is that an accurate reading? Do you think that made it a little bit more difficult for you to online date?
I think I was also just wanting to find somebody to connect with and have a relationship with, just because I had never really had the whole dating experience in like high school and stuff or college. I didn't really do that, as an adult. And kind of once I graduated college is mainly when I started experiencing dating and meeting new people and stuff. So
and then once you started, you were like, all right, I'm ready to find my person. Enough of this. I get that. So what about Rory, which is so hard for me to say for some reason? I don't know why. Rory, what about your experience with him let you know that this is my person, I'm ready to tie the knot?
Well, on our first date, we went to the beach, had like a little picnic and everything, and it was a lot of fun. And I have a favorite Disney movie.
Which one?
Tangled. Tangled is one of my favorites.
That's my favorite Disney princess movie. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's mine too.
I can sing Savannah and she just watched it for the first time, like a month or two ago?
Yeah, I think it was about a month and a half ago.
Yeah. I was singing every word and I could quote a large portion of that movie. Words. Yeah. And she cried because my singing was so beautiful. No, because it's a wonderful plot and a great film, and it's way better than Frozen, and I will leave it at that.
I completely agree.
So I'm sorry, picnic, Tangled.
Yep. So I See the Light is obviously in that movie, and it's one of my favorite Disney songs too.
So romantic.
Yeah, it is. And he sang that to me on our first date. It was really sweet, and he just kind of broke into song and started singing it to me when the sun was setting, and it was really cute. But
no man has ever done that for me. That's all I have to say. Wow, that's really sweet. I don't know how I would have done in that situation myself. I have always been that type of person where, remember when you were in school and there would be a kid who would just be like, I can sing, and would sing in front of everyone? First of all, I'm pretty sure that was me. But when it wasn't me, I would get really uncomfortable. I'd be like, tense up because I'm so afraid for the secondhand embarrassment. So I don't know how I would have done in that situation, but it sounds extremely romantic.
It was really sweet, and we actually danced to that song for our first dance at our wedding.
So sweet. For a long time, I thought that would be my first dance song. It was not, but it was a thought in my brain. Interesting to bring it up. I had something so similar happen on my first date with Logan. Well, we had multiple first dates. I won't get into it, but the most recent one, we went to the Hard Rock and had chicken tenders.
Nice.
So equally as romantic.
Yeah.
Doing great. But yeah, so it's fun. I feel like I got a little bit off topic. Okay, hobbies. So I wanted to know, we talked about Disney a little bit. I know you're very interested in, we had a good conversation before this. I wish I would have saved some of it. TV, movies. You know a lot about a lot of things.
I do. Yeah.
I think that's a good trait to have.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you're super passionate about right now?
I recently got really into the video game Kingdom Hearts.
I've heard about that. It's not a newer game. It's been out for quite a while,
It's been out for
right?
like 20 years. Like it's a series of games.
Disney characters? Okay, yeah, I remember that vaguely. I have never played it myself.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And it also has Final Fantasy characters in it too. So it's kind of like a collab between Disney and Final Fantasy. But yeah, I played through the entire series, which is like, I don't know, 5 or 6 games in like a month and a half. I'm kind of like
withdrawing.
Yeah,
I
a
get
little
that.
bit. Yeah, but that's what I've been a little obsessed with
I get
rather
that.
recently. Yeah.
I get that. I don't know if I've had any very intense obsessions lately. We talked about this a little bit earlier. I'm just about to finish the show The Sandman on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say anything for spoiler reasons, but for me, the show felt very scattered, is what I will say. That's how I will word it. Scattered. I am a sucker for rom-coms. Just anything.
Yeah.
Anything that could almost make me cry, I will watch it.
Have you seen Purple Hearts on Netflix?
No, but
yet?
I've heard really good things about it.
Oh, it's so cute.
And the main character's name is, one of them is Cassie,
Yep.
which I feel like my name, when I was growing up, I really never saw it anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, and it's spelled with a Y, Cassy. So I could never buy my name on a cup or anything like that. Thank you, Tammy. And I feel like that name is popping up more and more. Like, I don't know if I didn't watch Euphoria, but have you heard of Euphoria, the show?
I have, yeah.
One of the characters' name is Cassie.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just been hearing it pop up. And
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa.
I think that's Sydney Sweeney's character.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know why the name all of a sudden starts popping up, but no one really, it's very rare for me to find someone else who spells it the same way, but I do get really excited. I really do. So what else did we say we were going to talk about? Oh yeah, your gluten allergy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm gluten and dairy free.
I feel like that's very difficult.
It can be a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What do you eat?
Well,
Plants.
a lot of rice,
Okay.
meat, some veggies, fruit sometimes. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of gluten-free foods, and it's something that has become more well-known as
I'm very happy for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I've had this for like 6 years.
Oh, wow.
So I've known about it for a long time, and long before that, I was told that I had like a wheat allergy too, when I always ignored it, and then just one day my body said, no, we can't have gluten anymore. So
Do you ever have cheat days, or is it too detrimental to your health?
oh no, it makes me really sick if I eat it, so I stay away from it.
What's the thing you miss the most?
Bread.
Just bread in general.
Yeah.
I've heard like on TikTok and on the internet that gluten-free bread is just not fun.
It depends on the brand. There are some brands out there. I think Canyon Bakehouse is a really good one. It's just that what I've noticed with gluten-free bread is that it has a lot of air bubbles in it. So there's like
You get
holes.
less too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's smaller. It's not like normal size bread. It's like, it's a pretty small piece of bread.
For no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Yep.
so you can spend more money.
Yeah, it's expensive too.
One of my really good friends, well, my best friend, Lindsay, she's gluten-free for the most part. She is, I want to probably say like 75% gluten-free and then suffers for the other 25%. So
More power to her.
Yeah, I know. Maybe, I don't know the serious level of it, but she can sometimes drink beer, which does have gluten in it, right?
Yeah, it has wheat in it.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Not fun.
Mm-mm.
What is your favorite restaurant to eat at?
Fresh Kitchen.
Easiest.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What I had for dinner tonight.
Yeah, fair enough. Now thinking back on it, I understand why you could not have the butter chicken.
It has like cream in it, right?
Yeah, it has a lot of cream, butter.
Yep.
Yeah.
All of that.
That would have
Nope.
fricked you up.
Yes,
Yeah,
it would.
No, thank you. So one of the things that's going on the interwebs right now is Demi Lovato new song. I believe the title is 29.
Mhm.
And are you on TikTok at all?
Oh yeah.
Okay, great. It's great to have someone else in this room who understands me.
Mm-hmm. I'm obsessed with it. It's a problem.
Me too.
Mhm.
Yes. So the premise of the song is, Demi Lovato is saying, I'm finally 29, just the same age that you were at the time, talking about how when she was 17, she was in a relationship with what?
Wilmer Valderrama.
Thank you. And so talking about that relationship, just saying how now that they're 29, they would never think about the 17-year-old that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say I have mixed feelings on this because I do not want to discredit anyone's journey or situation. I don't know what their life is like. I'll never know what their life is like. I'm only able to make observations based on what they and other people can share. I don't know. I watched a TikTok on it today, and it was interesting because a lot of the TikToks I've seen about it are in support of Demi Lovato, who I feel like in the past couple years has had a very rocky just
Part-time.
relationship with the media is
Yeah.
what I want to say. So this TikTok was saying how they don't know how the woman who was sharing it doesn't know how to feel about the song and feels like it could be like some sort of media grab or attention thing, talking about how Demi Lovato did several interviews talking about how Wilmer wouldn't even look their way. Basically, they pursued until finally Wilmer was like, okay, we can give this a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I did see a few interview clips that said that, right? And I don't remember what documentary it was, but one of the documentaries that Demi Lovato did, and I'm not speaking as an expert, I'm just speaking as a observer of TikTok, okay? Please, okay? It talks about how, I'm pretty sure they were engaged at one point, and they broke off the engagement for some reason, I don't know. But Demi Lovato had that really bad overdose in 2018.
Yeah.
And it talks about how Wilmer was there for them very consistently.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what to think about the whole situation. Is there a factor of creepy involved? Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
I agree.
I'm going to speak from my own personal experience, and then maybe you can kind of understand where I'm going from.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 16, I started dating someone who, and dating is a loose term. It was not, I don't want to say it was like officially dating, but I was seeing someone, spending time with someone, hanging out with someone who was 21. And at the time, I just didn't think anything of it. I just thought, oh, I am very mature for my age. I'm going to hang out with people who are older. And I'm pretty sure that's how everyone else around me thought about it too. Then the year after that, I was 17 and a guy that I was seeing was 22. And it didn't break any laws or boundaries or anything. It's not like anything inappropriate happened. It was just dating, basically. The way that I thought about it at the time was that I was actively pursuing those people, right? Which is very true, especially for the first gentleman I was just talking about. I was very much pursuing this person.
Mm-hmm.
But when I think about it now that I'm older, I couldn't see myself doing that,
Yeah.
And when I was 18, I dated a guy who was 24. So that's a 6-year age difference. Nothing illegal. I was old enough to make my own decisions. But when I think back on it, that person came and stayed with me in my dorm room.
Mm.
So I'm about to be 24 in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good point that the song makes. Is I know it's not as extreme of an age difference, but 18 would never cross my mind.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like 6 years I think as you get older, age gaps become a little bit more acceptable. Your lives can seem more intertwined, life experiences.
Yeah.
But at the time, I don't think I was quite ready for that.
Yeah. I agree with that. There's a bit of an age, not a huge age gap. It's a couple years difference between me and Rory.
Mm-hmm.
So he was obviously a couple years ahead of me in high school. Thinking about that song and thinking about that large of an age difference between 29 and 17.
Yeah, that's a huge difference.
Being 30 years old and no.
Yeah, I mean, and I think what I was trying to wrap my thought, loop it back to that is, at the time, I was, like I said, I was convincing myself that I was actively pursuing this person, right? Which there's a very large amount of truth in that.
Mm-hmm.
But that other person still had to play a part.
Yeah.
So even if someone on the internet is going to make an argument that Demi actively, went after Wilmer hard until he said yes, he still said yes.
Yeah. I guess he also had a relationship with Lindsay Lohan,
Yeah,
too.
I did see that too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. He was 24 and she was 17.
Yeah.
I know he's engaged now. I don't know anything about it, but
Yeah.
this brings up a good point. This brings up a good point of what I was trying to talk about earlier, the concept of separating the artist from the art. And I feel like nowadays with cancel culture,
Mm-hmm.
more indiscretions are readily available to see. People's dirty secrets.
Yeah.
So it can sometimes taint things that you love.
Yeah, I think a good example about that especially would be maybe Ezra Miller.
Yes.
You really like The Flash and you like the character of The Flash, but with all
they're
of the
doing
stuff,
crazy stuff right now.
Yeah.
A good example for me is What's His Butt from that 70s show.
Valderrama was on that 70s
Yes, he
show.
was. The guy,
I know the dude.
the guy with the curly hair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
He was arrested. I'm pretty sure he was arrested and sentenced for, can't recall off the top of my head if it was sexual assault or rape, but something along those lines.
The two were pretty similar.
Yes,
unfortunately.
But yeah, so after that happened, I was very sad, and I was like, oh man, am I ever going to be able to watch that 70s show again? It's something that
Fez. Is his name Fez?
Fez is Wilmer's character.
Oh, okay.
Hyde is the guy that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Whatever
Yeah.
his name is.
Yeah.
Well, now you bring in, Wilmer into that, right? Now I have two characters that I'm going to try to separate the artist from the art. And soon we'll have that 90s show, which is the...
Spinoff.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's coming out on Netflix.
Yep.
But I think most importantly, the one that's hitting me very hard right now is Jerry Seinfeld, because I have recently become a big Seinfeld fan. I watched it. I can watch it any time of day. Something always makes me laugh. It's one of the only shows with a laugh track that I'm able to enjoy. I'm pretty sure he was like 32, 34, something like that, dating a 17-year-old.
Yeah, that's pretty gross. Yeah.
So it's upsetting. I mean, and some people make the argument like, oh, it was a different time.
No.
And like, what? Does that make it better? No. You still know better. What was the age of consent then? I'm sure it was still
18.
18.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably. Could have been. I don't know. The fact of the matter is she was still in high school, right? I do not want to take away anything from young women, right? Because I feel like with this issue goes hand in hand with saying that young women can't make their own decisions. And I'm very, very, very adamant that women of almost any age can make their own decisions. But I'm just speaking about coercion, grooming,
Yes.
something that could be very triggering.
Yes.
So.
For sure. It just doesn't really sit right with me, for sure.
So if you see me wearing my Seinfeld t-shirt,
You were
and
wearing it earlier.
Yes, and you see Jerry Seinfeld, that's Jerry Seinfeld TV version, not Jerry Seinfeld human version.
Yeah, you gotta separate the two sometimes.
I'm separating the two there. So much about American culture or comedy even as the years go on are not even socially acceptable. Like, have you ever seen the show Will and Grace?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Also one of the other shows that I can watch with the laugh track. That show was extremely progressive for its time, right? You have two openly gay men. You have Will and Jack.
Yeah.
And the first on-screen gay kiss was on that show.
Was it?
Yes.
Huh.
Pretty sure it was 2000. Yeah, 2000. So an extremely progressive show. And even the jokes that they did on that show would not fly today.
Right.
So I think it just goes to show how culture changes and what's changes. Yeah.
Rory and I were actually watching a movie last night called Fanboys.
Familiar.
It's about a group of guys that break into Lucasfilm to basically steal episode 1 of Star Wars.
That's funny.
It had a funny premise and stuff, but it had a lot of using of words that are very inappropriate nowadays.
Yeah.
It kind of offended me hearing those words, so I went to sleep and he continued watching it. But another show that I can think of that has something similar to that is The Office. The Office has a lot of that too.
Yes. I mean, it's still a show that I love and adore, and for its time, it might have not been as outrageous, but as time goes on, humor and things change. Just look at SNL too, right?
For sure.
Like how that has changed over the years.
Yeah.
That brings me into another thought of words that I cannot stand to listen to people say. And there is a word that starts with an R, right? And that's used to talk about people as if they have lower intelligence. I'm not going to say the word.
Yes.
You won't catch me saying that word.
Right.
And it wasn't until, and I kid you not, it wasn't until an episode of Glee that they talk about Down syndrome and they talk about that word and the effect that word has. And ever since then, it has made my skin just crawl. Any type of word that is used to bring people down really upsets me, but specifically that word. And when I started dating my husband, he would say it occasionally, and I was like, listen, there are lines that this is unforgivable for me. I don't know why it's such a trigger for me, but it is. So we have a little bit of time to dive into the deep end before we have to wrap things up. I know something that we talked about a little bit was about mental health in general. And you talked a little bit to me before we started about your husband and his diagnoses. Is there anything you wanted to talk about, share about that?
Yeah, he deals with OCD and generalized anxiety disorder. And it's
Gad.
Yeah. It's really hard for him to deal with those things. It's hard to watch him have to deal with those things, and you try to comfort as much as you can and be there for him and be there through whatever he's going through, because it's pretty tough sometimes.
An important thing to remember through that too is you're still a person and you still need support too. So
Yeah.
I know how it can sometimes be frustrating because you have to put someone above, like someone's needs above your own in certain situations. So is there anything that you do to make sure that you're also taking care of yourself?
I'm unfortunately a people pleaser. So sometimes I do think of myself, and I try to deal with that in my own way, I guess, of taking care of myself and making sure that I'm okay mentally. But sometimes you just can't do that because you just have to keep going.
Yeah.
So
I know. I can understand how hard that is. But I think that also the OCD kind of ties into what we just talked about, because that's something that people often use as catchphrase almost, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm so OCD. I'm so OCD. It just doesn't sit right with me, because I know people who have pretty significant OCD, you know, having to touch the doorknob a certain amount of times before they can leave the house, having to turn the lights on and off a certain amount of times before they can leave the house.
yeah.
Some centered on germs. So it doesn't always center on germs though, and I don't think a lot of people recognize that.
Yeah.
And sometimes people with OCD can quite literally live in slob territory, right?
Yeah.
It does not just associated with cleanliness.
Right.
So
It is.
I think that's the hardest thing to get across to people, or, you know, have them understand that sometimes it's really just about battling those intrusive and compulsive thoughts.
Yeah.
Do you want to share anything about maybe what your husband goes through, or what his triggers might be, how he gets past those?
Yeah, he has he talks with somebody and they help him through it.
Good
Sometimes.
for him.
Therapy is important.
Yes. Everyone should go to therapy.
Yes. But yeah, he tries to deal with it as best he can. He sometimes will ask if something is supposed to be this way, or so he doesn't have to do it a certain amount of
Gotcha.
times, I guess.
Kind of like grounding himself almost.
Yeah.
Like
It's
getting a
technique, I guess.
a gist of what is conventionally normal, or is that how I'm understanding it, or am I understanding it incorrectly?
No, you're
Okay.
you've got it right on the nose. It is a type of grounding technique, and I will say with having a gluten allergy, I know it's not the same as having OCD, but
Cross-contamination.
yes, I have quite a large fear about that.
Yeah.
And coming in contact with things that I cannot consume.
Yeah.
And they make
that's
me
a
really
valid
sick.
point. Yeah. Frozen yogurt. Out of the question.
I wish. I haven't had frozen yogurt in a long time.
Yeah. Toppings. Cross-contaminated.
Yes. But I can kind of relate to him in that way with having that fear and not really, I don't know if it's not really, I guess it's anxiety related.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I can relate to him in that way and understand and try to help him through whatever anxiety and whatever compulsion or whatever his brain is telling him is not right.
Sometimes
So.
your brain is your worst enemy.
It
And
really is.
I do not have OCD, but I do struggle with anxiety pretty frequently. Kind of similar to that. Not the same. I'm not comparing the situation, but I recently went through a very terrible friend breakup, and it was one of the worst things that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
And I'm so afraid of that, you know, happening again. So I get that, like having to see if you can trust your brain in that moment. Is this thought valid? Is this thought process valid? So
Your feelings are valid.
yes, your feelings are always valid, but sometimes I have to keep my brain in check. Like, Miss Girl, like, let us know. That is not how things are.
Mm-hmm.
But I am glad that your husband has someone to support him, and I hope you're giving yourself the support you need to.
Yeah,
So
I try to.
good. Well, that was a pretty good one. You know, felt pretty confident about that. Well, now we're gonna segue on to what might be the best part of the podcast, and I know you've kind of listened here and there, so you might not know what's gonna happen next. But what's gonna happen next is Josh is going to toss me this Girl.
Number 2.
Here.
Okay. 7 out of 10.
So, at the end of each episode, the guest gets to open a Lego mini figurine, and
Ooh,
it's
fun.
Muppets. So,
Ooh.
I don't know if you know this about me, but one of my favorite films is the Muppets 2011 version, which I mention every single episode of the podcast, and the listener can tell you that.
What is the premise for that one? Because I think I've seen it before.
Okay, great question. I'd love to share. Walter is the newest Muppet introduced in that film. That's all I need to tell you. She gets it.
Yep, I know.
Just so beautiful.
Little help.
How many Muppets can you say
Kermit.
won an Oscar? I
Ozzy.
not very many. So we have quite a few around the room.
Anybody? Miss Piggy?
You get a chance of, I think there's 12 different options, right?
Sweet.
Before you open it, I just ask that you guess which one it might be. And if it's a duplicate, you get to keep it.
Oh, cool.
If it's not a duplicate,
Can
you
I
do
try
not
to
get
guess by like feeling
Yes.
it?
Do whatever you need to do.
I think my favorite Muppet is not Animal. What is the big brown one?
Fozzie.
What is it?
Fozzie.
Not Fozzie. The one that kind of looks like a
The
monster.
huge one. I
Yes.
don't know his
The one that
name.
sells in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's my favorite joke.
he's my favorite.
We'll take that car for $12.95.
I don't know his name. I'm a fake fan.
Wow.
Fake
What?
fan.
Exposed.
Her wedding song was the Muppets.
I know. The song I walked down to the aisle was Rainbow Connection.
Oh, that's cute though.
Yes.
I like that.
Fake fan.
Well, I'm gonna guess it's that person. They're not. No, they're not on there.
I don't think he's on it.
No.
Well, but it might be him. You never know.
So there's only
Believe
12.
what you want. Cassie's a fake fan, so all the rules are out the window.
Fake
Not
fan.
even a real podcast anymore. Now we're getting canceled.
Okay.
Yeah, now we're never gonna get an ad from HelloFresh.
Now we're never going to get
Takes a
Muppets
lot.
ad.
Let me see.
They're very difficult to open.
Yes. Oh dear.
Cheese and rice.
There we go. It looks like Miss Piggy.
Well, it's a repeat, so you get to keep her.
Oh, cool.
Woohoo! Miss
I like
Piggy.
Legos.
Didn't
Carly.
Oh, it's Miss Piggy. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, while you're building that, I will introduce our snack attack.
It was at this moment that she knew. She f***ed up.
Oh my gosh.
Joshua!
Gosh, that's so violent.
-2 out of 10. Damage to the host and guest.
He didn't hit me, thankfully.
Alright, -1 out of 10. Damage to the host. Emotional damage?
Emotional damage.
You should probably leave.
All right. The snack attack of the week is fruit by the foot.
There's a green one?
I'm glad I didn't get that one.
Yeah, you got the good one. You got the wild berry one. I don't
Well,
know
there's
what
many
this
other
one
on the
is.
floor if you would like a different
Oh
one.
no, it's good. I'll just eat this one.
It was good. Much better than the Gushers.
Emotional damage.
I'm going to say an 8 out of 10. Hang on there. What do you think?
Yeah, you can't really go wrong with those. They get stuck in your teeth though. That's the only problem.
Yeah.
Save it for later.
If you had to rate it out of 10, what would you say?
I've never had this green one before. It tastes like apple.
Good for her.
Yeah, I would say maybe like a 6.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, we're going to wrap things up.
Okay.
I don't know how many times I've said that today, Josh. He's not counting. So, I don't have Instagram on my phone right now. How many followers do we have?
The last report was 131.
131! Zooey mama, we're up 2 more from the last time we checked in. So, I would appreciate it if you could like, share, subscribe. Tell your cousins, brothers, girlfriends, uncle about the podcast. I hope you get to sing your favorite song today. I hope you get to eat your favorite snack. I hope you get to hug your best friend. And if you can't hug your best friend, I hope you can listen to the rest of the podcast and maybe it'll feel like you're hugging a best friend because I can be your friend. Yeah, and I hope everyone who's listening has a great day. Melissa, thank you for coming. This was a lot of fun. I think it was a very interesting and stimulating conversation.
Yeah,
and
thank you for having me.
Woohoo! And we will see everyone again next week. Too-ta-loo. Bye.
Toodaloo. Toodaloo.